Hi everybody. Okay, so Georgia Bulldogs are still playing, so I'm gonna do a couple of videos now because I'm thinking about it and I have the time. So, all right. I just finished watching the movie with honors. It was done in 1994. Stars Joe Pesci, Brendan Fraser, Maura Kelly, and Josh Hamilton. Let's see. There were four. Josh Hamilton, Patrick Dempsey, Brendan Fraser, Maura Kelly, and Joe Pesci. Okay, now Joe Pesci plays a kind of a homeless guy who is sleeping or staying in the Harvard Library. Um, and all the kids, young people, go to Harvard. And the big idea is to graduate with honors. That means either cum laude, summa cum laude, or magna cum laude. Because apparently, the higher your GPA is when you graduate from college, the more chances you have of job opportunities, right? Okay, so the character Simon is a homeless guy. And the character Monty is played by Brendan Fraser, is the one who loses his term paper or his thesis to graduate with honors. In he goes down the sewer into the basement of the library, and so he has to go find it. Well, in his quest, he finds Simon, and he kind of bargains with him and says, "I'll give you one page for one thing." And what's important to know is that, of course, there are deadlines, and he has 88 pages of the thesis already done. Now, I don't know what the limit was, but let's say 100. Um, that would mean he's really close to it, right? And he had enough of the first chapter of the thesis to turn into his academic advisor, right? And apparently he had written 10 chapters so far. And then he lost it. And then when he was trying to type it when he went home or back to the dorm, the computer froze, so he lost everything. So now the thesis became his life. So he kind of befriended Simon just to get back to the thesis at first. But of course, they formed a bond over time. And what's really sad is that Simon had a past and a story, but it was really bad because he had worked for a company for a good bit of years, but he got asbestos from the kind of work he did, so they considered he couldn't work anymore, so they fired him. So then he'd been living on the street since then. So he was married, had a little boy, but left him. And he said that wasn't his proudest moment, but it wasn't until way later in the film that we realize that he's sick and going to die, and there's no treatment for what he's got. So, he starts to try to make amends for all his past wrongs, I guess. And he tries to visit his son on the day that the thesis is supposed to be turned in to graduate with honors. Because first of all, you have to meet the deadline, and then they have to approve what you said, and if it's good enough, then you get on with honors, right? Okay, but instead he goes to let him see his son because he knows he's gonna die maybe in a couple weeks or something. Um, so he goes to see his son, and his son he goes to see him and sees him for 5 minutes maybe, but mostly rebukes him and says, you made a mistake, and he tries to say he's sorry, but he doesn't even accept his apology. Um, and then what's really sad is that the son had a daughter, a little girl, and so she asked, "Who is this?" And the son says, "It's nobody's." So he already turned away his daughter from her own grandfather. Um, so, and then also the other story underlying that one is Courtney, played by Moira Kelly. Brendan Fraser is in love with the character played by Moira Kelly, but he's too ashamed or too whatever to make a move. So Joe Pesci says, you don't want to live this life with regrets, so do something about it. And just at that moment, he sees her break up with the guy that she came with or something. So she's by herself. And so he finally makes a move and he kisses her. And of course, she doesn't expect it. So at first she's like, "What are you doing?" And he says, "I'm ending the friendship." And then they start kissing and. And then they get together. But sadly that night, the character of Simon gets worse. So they want to take him to the hospital, but they've already made a promise that they're not going to take him to a hospital. So they do the best they can with helping him out. And and then also they let him stay in the house because somehow he gets on benefits, so he can provide rent and money for food. And because one of the roommates never liked him and said, "Why is he here?" You know. So then after the whole thing, with like 10 minutes ago, he passes away, right? So they hold a little impromptu funeral for him, but only 4 people. The 4 people that took him in. So in his eulogy, which he wrote himself, he says, the day he died and that he is survived by his family, and he names all the 4 people and like tidbits about every person. And so it's really sad. But I mean, really good too because you learn the value of life versus awards and prestige, because in the beginning, all the kid wanted was to graduate with honors, you know? And so he graduated with honor in life and not a piece of paper. So that was a great lesson in the movie. But it's an hour and 41 minutes. So it's a really good film. And of course, also a musical soundtrack tie-in. I'll remember that big song by Madonna. That was the theme song for the movie, and they play it at the closing credits. I just remember the music video because they put in clips of the film, but at that point I didn't know what the film was about, so I just liked the video. But I love that song. I love it. And now with the context, it'll probably make me cry, but it's still a good song. So if you like, college films like Graduate, Degree, that kind of stuff, then you'll like this movie. It's really good. I hope I did it justice. So, all right, bye guys.